Hi guys, welcome to screenbench.com, and today we have Katherine Norland from Dhar Mann videos. You all know her very well, I know that, and this is Mohid Moosani, if you know that by now. So, hello Katherine, how do you do?
Hello, I'm doing well.
How's it in your, how's the weather in your place?
It's nice. I really enjoy the weather in Los Angeles, California. We
Uh,
were just we're just on vacation last week in
uh,
Arizona, and it was much hotter there.
uh-huh. So, you've been into, we'll come to your major thing, the Dhar Mann videos, the Dhar Mann films thing. But first,
Hmm.
let the fans know a little history about you. I think the fans will love that. So, uh, you went to an elementary school and you did your first play over there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
I still have the little brochure of the play I was in. I think it was something that had to do with the rats of Nim. I think my first play I played a mouse or a rat.
what? That's cool because I played number zero.
Oh,
The
okay.
value of number zero. There was this kid, and I used to be a fat round kid, so they gave me the role of Mr. Zero.
Oh man.
So they were
Wow.
like, if you add this zero after any number, the value increases immensely. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, hi
wow.
guys, I'm Mr. Zero.
Yes, you're Mr. Increase in value immensely.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So then you went to Bible school, and
Hmm.
then you decided to move to Los Angeles. So what's that about?
Yeah. So, I didn't really think about becoming an actor. I did a couple of plays in grade school, and
Yeah, yeah.
um, then I did a Midsummer Night's Dream, and I played Puck. And I think I tried out for a play or two in high school, and I never got a part. So I didn't really consider that as a career move.
Right.
So I applied to Bible school because the only thing I really, I don't know, cared about was reading the Bible. And I tried to actually apply to a regular, just a normal college, but I didn't get in. So I don't know why. At the time, I thought, man, I must not be very smart because I didn't get into the regular college. So I was doing, oh, my 3-year-old just came in.
Such cute voice. That's a cute voice. Can we see him?
Oh, come here, sweetie. Let's take a look at you. He just got his first haircut yesterday.
Wow. Oh
Say
my
hi,
God.
Aisha.
Can't wait to see him on Herman videos.
He has been in 3 of them, but
He
they've only
has?
aired 2. They've only aired
Oh,
2 of them.
oh,
So he
okay.
was in one called Woman Thinks Her Prayers Don't Get Answered. And then he was in another one called Husband's Addicted to Fortnite.
Uh,
So,
I think I've watched the first one that you mentioned, but not the
okay.
second one. Yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah, he was in a third one, but they ended up reshooting it with a different cast. So
Uh-huh.
you won't get to see that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was going to Bible college, and I was doing a church service every Sunday for the inmates at the local county jail. I was
Right.
part of a team that went in and did church services. And just during my time of, I don't know, prayer, and I just felt like God was telling me to move to Los Angeles and become an actor. And I thought, that's really bizarre. That cannot be the voice of God. That's got to be the other guy. Because you know, I always thought of Los Angeles as this place of debauchery, and I thought nothing good could happen there.
Right.
I mean, at least that's kind of what was instilled in me by like parents and things like, oh, when I told them I was moving to Los Angeles, they were worried that I would like get hooked on drugs,
Yeah.
something bad would happen to me.
Yeah.
So my dad was encouraging me, just keep your stable job at the factory,
Yeah.
just be a factory worker for the rest of my life. And
Yeah.
that was not the way it went, though.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think the universe always has a plan for you, whether you willingly or unwillingly plan for it or do it or take steps for it. In the end,
Yeah.
what the universe has planned for you is gonna happen. No matter
Mm.
how bad you don't want it to happen or how bad you want it to happen, it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So Catherine, you've been in except for like excluding the Dhar Mann videos,
Mm-hmm.
you've been into around 150 projects.
Yeah.
So that means that you've got a lot and lot of experience in all
Yeah.
areas, whether that be your key expertise or not. Like
Mm-hmm.
you get to learn so much when someone's instructing the spot boy or when someone's instructing another actor. You get to hear all the stuff, or when
Yeah.
the the producer or the directors are giving their pieces of advice to other people. You kind of catch and knowledge and information from here and there,
Yeah.
and it
Mm-hmm.
definitely adds up to your intellect, I would say. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's much more better than a degree, I would say.
Mm.
like
Mm-hmm.
like what I learned in my uh, I don't know how many years of education. I am an MBA, so uh, what I learned in all those years compared to
Mm-hmm.
what I learned in practical life
Yeah.
is totally different. And what I learned in practical life at work and all, it was totally a different experience. That was some solid stuff that would teach you how
Mm-hmm.
to keep the food on the table. Schools
Yeah.
don't teach you that. Unfortunately,
No,
most
they
schools
don't.
don't teach you
Uh,
that.
they don't teach a lot of very important things.
Yeah, they don't. So when you moved to Los Angeles and you said sorry about that, it was more of like calling from God, like God was telling you to make that decision, and
Mm-hmm.
you followed that, and then how did things start to open up?
Well, I I really got here in 6 hours after I got into town. I had my first audition.
Wow.
Had a lot of opportunities for a lot of small independent films, and I probably had more than 800 auditions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in so many projects that,
800 auditions. Sorry. Wow.
yeah, at least, maybe
Wow.
more. I kept track for a while, and then I quit keeping track. But I used to like track every single person I worked with, every single project. I had these massive lists and folders, and just, once you have kids, everything changes. You don't
Yeah.
have time to be so
Yeah.
meticulous tracking, and so I just kind of take things as they come now. But yeah, there was a lot of things that I did, and sad to say, a lot of projects never got finished. I would film things, and they would never get edited, or they would never get distribution. So it's, yeah, like on IMDb, I think it shows I have like 68 credits or something like that. But that's a small portion of
What
the
you've
work that I've
actually
done.
done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So after elementary school and after all that Christian schooling, a lot of people actually turn towards singing. Did that not come to you?
No, I'm a terrible singer. That did not much. I think voice lessons would improve it. I think I've literally seen cats run out of the room when I sing, so nobody sing.
Uh-huh. That's cool. That's cool. So, guys, Catherine's been, as she told you, that she's been in over 150 projects and all, and she's been in the industry for over 20 years. That's
Hmm.
that's almost like a silver jubilee in 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Is it not?
So I don't understand what you're saying.
I mean, silver jubilee of your work in 5 years.
Oh, Silver Jubilee.
Try
I've
that.
never heard that term before.
Really?
Okay.
And
So, yeah, in I've never heard the term Silver Jubilee, but in marriage they say if you're married 25 years, you give someone the gift of silver. So maybe that's kind of the same thing. So,
yeah,
okay, yeah, I guess it would
yeah,
be
yeah,
Jubilee. Technically, yeah. No, yeah.
yeah.
Something like that.
Uh-huh. And your biggest, I think, project that you've been on was the Dhar Mann videos thing.
Depends on what you mean by biggest. I mean, it's the longest
Yeah,
running thing. As far as popularity, I was on a TV show called Malcolm in the Middle, one
of
episode.
course, everybody knows
So
that show.
that's bigger in the sense of budget, and it went on for 10 seasons and this and
Yeah.
that. But as far as like the longest project I've been on,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, Dhar Mann would be the longest of a series I've been on. I
Uh-huh.
have been, I've had lead roles in feature films and things like that,
Of
but
course.
smaller budget things.
Yeah, yeah. So I believe those two are both very different things. I mean, doing Facebook videos for Dhar Mann and
Yeah.
movies
Mhm.
like Malcolm in the Middle. Those
Mhm.
two are very two different things because with this Dhar Mann thing, you get instant feedback of your work. And
Mhm.
secondly, the Dhar Mann videos is based on a positive cause. And a very
Mhm.
intelligent person, business person told me that if you really want to be rich and if you really want to make something of your own, find a purpose that serves humanity, serve them, and you will see money chasing you. You won't have to
Wow.
you won't have to worry about how to uh, make something lucrative or anything. You just have to serve the people, make sure you're fulfilling their needs. If they are in a problem, you have to solve that problem, become a problem solver, and you don't have to worry about the money. It will follow you. So
Mm.
so yeah, a two or three, I believe, business persons or leaders in motivational industry have said that to me, or I have read that a couple of times,
Mhm.
and it seems very legit that bring on a purpose that serves humanity, and then just go on with your thing, and it'll just blossom. So 3 years ago, the Dhar Mann videos started.
They started, well, I believe they started in maybe September
Uh
of
huh.
2018. I joined the cast in October of 2018.
Uh-huh. So you were the very
Mm-hmm.
first ones in the videos, and we'd usually see you on most of the videos back then.
So, yeah, Ricky was the first one.
Yeah,
She's actually the one who got me the audition.
yeah,
Um, there were a few, they did probably maybe between 6 and 10 videos, I think they did before I joined the cast. I'm
yeah,
not sure, I would have to go back and look, but
yeah.
yeah, I was been there pretty early on. Some of the early on people aren't still with them, but a lot of them still are.
Hmm. So, Catherine, uh, is there a sense of like well-being or this magical sense of doing something positive when you film for Dhar Mann videos? Because it does
You know
create
what?
a very huge impact. You know, they are life changers. The videos
Mm-hmm.
are life changers. So does that
Yeah.
kind of, change your attitude towards those videos?
Well, it really ties into, I feel like it's just right on track with what my purpose has always been. So I've always been trying to put out positive things into the world before I even started with Dhar Mann.
Uh-huh.
Back in 2008, I wrote my first book, Poetic Prescriptions
Yeah.
for Pesky Problems, all positive messages. And back another second book before I started with Dhar Mann, Poetic Prescriptions for
Yeah.
Eternal Youth,
Yeah.
and putting my like, advice content videos out on my own channel.
Yeah.
Thing I started doing even before I got into Dhar Mann. And
Yeah.
I found myself wanting to do more self-help, wanting to put more messages out there, to do more
Right.
speaking, to books. And when the Dhar Mann thing came around, it was right at the time where I was going to quit acting because
Uh-huh.
it wasn't fulfilling me anymore, and I didn't feel like the
You.
roles I was playing were putting positive messages into the world. They were either neutral or they were bad messages.
Right.
And so I didn't want to act in films that didn't help people, that weren't uplifting. It just felt incongruent with
That were
where I
in alignment with your heart,
exactly.
if I put it
So
precisely.
I remember telling God in 2018, I'm done, quit acting. This isn't what I want to do anymore. And then I got the Dhar Mann audition,
Uh-huh.
and it was like God was laughing at me, going, ha ha ha, you think you're quitting,
So you
but nope, I'm taking you the route you want to go, a different way than you expected.
so you talk to
And
God?
yes, I do,
I do
all the
too.
time.
I do too. I do too. It's a wonderful feeling. I mean, we have people of, all beliefs, and I respect everyone. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you could be an atheist, you could be anything, and I'll leave you to that. It's your choice. But for if you ask me on a personal term, yeah, I do talk to God, and the term of God means very different to me than what it might mean to you or someone else. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're chatting all the time. Yeah, yeah. So what's up with your feature film coming up, The Cannibal Corpse Killers?
Yeah, that actually just got distribution.
Yeah.
Well, last year during COVID, we got distribution for Cannibal Corpse Killers,
Yeah.
and it's now, I'm so happy it's now available on Google Play and Tubi and iTunes and Redbox, Amazon
Uh-huh.
Prime, Xbox, PlayStation, YouTube, Fandango Now, different direct streaming companies. You can buy it at Walmart.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I put a lot, very different character I played in this movie than the Dhar Mann films. I
Really?
was like pretty tough girl. I had like, I think 4 fight scenes in the movie.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was grueling. We shot outside in the desert a lot, broken down locations, because this was like 20 years after the apocalypse. And so yeah, it's a highly recommended for people who like post-apocalyptic movies, gore films, zombie films.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are you into that? Are you into that genre yourself?
I used to watch horror movies quite a bit, but I got out of it probably about 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I was watching a horror film, and I usually watch them by myself because my husband doesn't like horror films. I was watching one night when my husband was out of town, and in the other room, my son Timothy, who was 2 or 3 at the time, probably 3, he just started screaming and screaming like uncontrollably. and I was watching this like demonic horror film that somebody recommended to me because I was going to audition for the director. So I was researching some of his films that he did.
Yeah.
And then couldn't get my son to calm down. I didn't know what was wrong, and I just started praying for him. And it was like God spoke to my spirit and said, that movie you're watching is got some bad, demonic, spiritual activity, and it's come into the house and it's gotten on your son. I felt like that was what God was saying. So I turned that movie off, and I don't think I've watched a horror film since then, but I've made some. I've been in some. And I've watched the ones I've been in, but I kind of stopped watching that genre when I saw how
What
spiritual.
happened? Yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
scares you. So yeah,
Yeah.
a few incidents have actually happened with me as well, but
Hmm.
I would, say 50% psychological uh, mess, 50% maybe it was real. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but it felt really paranormal inside my heart. So
Yeah.
God knows. And I've
Right.
also I've also heard, will not uh, stretch this particular topic, but I've also heard that sometimes they put reverse Bible lyrics in some songs, or some satanic spells and stuff in movies and songs, and
Yeah.
there are some symbols and all that, and then there are conspiracy theories that this is all on purpose, and some people are saying that this is all just, not on purpose, this is just nothing. So
Hmm.
we have conspiracy stories, and people believing at the both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
so uh, first I wanted to talk about your books and go in all aligned, but you mentioned about your books, so uh, so
Yeah, there was the
yeah,
third one
yeah,
poetic prescription
yeah.
for plaguing problems. I didn't mention that one,
uh,
but yeah, three. I have three out, and I'm currently working on my fourth one.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask that you are working on your upcoming feature film, right?
So I am putting together a feature film that I am hoping to direct
Uh-huh.
next year.
Uh-huh.
So it's still in the really itty bitty baby phases. We're not even technically in development yet, and development is the stage before pre-production. So I spent a couple years reading script after script after script to try to find one that I really wanted to do for my directorial debut.
Right.
I've produced a lot of short films, and Cannibal Corpse Killers is the feature film I produced and executive produced. But I've been being kind of groomed to start directing, and I find myself wanting to have more creative piece of the puzzle than just maybe acting a certain role, or even producing is somewhat more creative, but the director is still in feature films anyway. The director is still calling the shots, and they're telling
Yeah.
you what they want, producer. So
Yeah.
yeah, wanting to do more.
I've spoken to a lot of directors and
Okay.
screenwriters as well, so I know who calls the shots.
Yeah. Well, it's different in TV. In
Yeah.
TV, it's really the producers
Yeah.
that call the shot, but in film, it's the directors.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So uh, now that we're done with your this thing, now please tell me about your books and what they're
No.
about, and how can motivation be transformed into poetry, and what's in there.
Yeah, so I started writing poetry when I was a teenager, when I was having like anxiety and depression and not feeling good about myself, and instead of like maybe going to therapy, I would just start to write down all the problems I was having. And it, for some reason, it just came out in the form of poetry. And then around the time when I started going to Bible college, I felt like God was telling me, so you write about your problems all the time, but that's not helping people until you bring them a solution. And so that's why all three of these books start with the title Poetic Prescriptions, because it's like describing this as a doctor. There used to be said, take 2 pills and call me in the morning.
Yeah.
I always say, read 2 poems and you won't have to call me in the morning.
Wow.
Because they really are, like, as I say, I prescribe poetry instead of pills to cure your emotional and spiritual ills.
Of course.
So these are about different problems that I have gone through in life and the solutions I've found to get out of those problems, whether it's depression or lust or not feeling good about myself or feeling like I'm never going to make it or never get ahead, and then really pressing in to find what is the solution when you're going through these things, and putting that's why my first cover was a pill bottle, and instead of pills popping out, it's little scrolls of poetry.
Wow, beautiful.
And my second book is my journey of how I went from self-hate to self-love by finding out what God had to say about me. And the reason it's like she's had this character, which is me, looks like she's had all the surgery done, living in Hollywood.
Exactly.
You feel like you're never thin enough, you're never pretty enough, you're never young enough. And I already had low self-esteem before I moved here.
Yeah.
And suddenly I'm going to auditions with all these gorgeous, like, perfect Barbie dolls, and I'm this chunky farm girl from Minnesota. And so that was, and then the third book, I'm wearing a fly paper dress, and there's like bugs and a bug spray, because so many things come at us, like swarm us.
Yeah.
Swarms of flies and mosquitoes and problems seem to like just be biting us. And so I actually took the 10 plagues found in the Bible and made poetry using the 10 plagues as a visual metaphor, but tied into day problems, where I'm talking about, if you've been molested as a child, it's all different kinds of things. That's just one topic. But suicide, depression, all different kinds of stuff that I talk about, falling for the wrong person, adultery, I talk about addiction. So it really covers the gamut. The new one I'm working on is specifically going to be the journey of how to kind of get over depression. I'm calling it Poetic Prescriptions for Demolishing Depression and Heading Towards Happiness, because I want to show people what I did to get out of depression, because I was, the doctor told me I had dysthymia, which, if I'm pronouncing that right, is like the temporary suicide manic depression. And
could you repeat that word?
I think it is dysthymia, if I'm
Dyslexia?
saying it right.
Dyslexia, maybe?
No, not dyslexia.
Okay.
Dysthymia. It's the temporary suicidal manic depression. And I feel like it's finally time to put that book out. A lot of people that send me messages on Instagram and different places are talking about how they've been struggling with depression and thoughts of suicide. So I wanted to share, my journey through that.
Exactly. It's really brave of you to, come out and tell about your personal experiences, because a lot of people, because of the taboo around mental health, I wish I could just finish the taboo in a day, because so many people are suffering and not many are fortunate to find help. And then the last resort, when everything gets up to the worst situation, you find out that highly talented person, or that really jolly person that you knew had committed suicide the previous night. And you would never have an idea that that person was dealing with so much mental health issues. So I've also been really close to mental health patients, and I have studied a bit of human psychology as well. So I
Okay.
do understand, what it is for a depression patient, and not every, you know 3 hour, 4 hour, or 2 day pang of sadness is depression. A lot of people
Right.
need to get that right. If you're sad, or just lazy, and you're having sad thoughts just for a
Yeah.
day, 2 days, 3 days, and it goes away, you're not depressed. It's just human nature. You don't need to start uh, gulping down that bottle of vodka, or running and getting some prescription pills, or unprescribed prescription pills, or something like that, because
Yeah.
you need to be strong enough, and you need to understand how the brain works, and I guess that's it. So yeah, and now let's
Hmm.
come to uh, your Dhar Mann videos thing. So, Catherine, do you feel a different type of motivation when you're going to shoot for the Dhar Mann videos?
Yeah, it's being on so many other sets, more than 100 other different kinds of sets.
Yeah,
It's when I go to the Dhar Mann studios, there's not that sense of anxiety or dread or worrying if someone's going to be in a bad mood or they're going to yell at you, or
yeah,
if you mess up your line that they're going to, if you do something wrong, they're going to berate you and put you down in front of the other
exactly.
cast members. Like all things like that have happened to me on other sets, or that they're going to put you in a position that's compromising or unsafe, or trying to pressure you into things you don't want to do. All that kind of stuff happens to you on other movie sets.
Mm-hmm.
Or- I mean, not every movie set, but it's
A lot
it's
of
it's
movie sets.
it's a lot. So I don't. It's a sense of peace, even joy sometimes,
Uh-huh.
getting there and do what you feel like you were meant to do. To go do what's your purpose, and not, you're not being used or put down, or I don't know. It's just a nice atmosphere.
You should Google Michelle Blackwell if you don't know her already, or
I don't.
you could watch an interview I conducted with her, and
Uh-huh.
she's always been into, had a love for acting and Hollywood and everything. So she has basically created a platform, and it's now over 30 years old. She started the platform when she was in high school. So it helps people of color get into Hollywood, and other people as well. And it is affiliated with another uh, acting and training and all this creative side website. It's not actually a website, it's a trainings program. So you
Hmm.
could get really cheap acting lessons, and you could, go to their premises and have a chat with them, and uh, they would try to connect you with people in Hollywood that might want to, work with you, or are willing to give you a chance. So she's created
Hmm.
that foundation where, women don't need to uh, do that all sorts of uh, how do I put it? Uh,
Cast
yeah,
situations.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you should definitely check her foundation out as well. She
Hmm.
is specifically focusing more on women, because women of color need more help, uh,
Yeah.
and women of color are often mistreated as well, and a lot of,
Hmm.
unfair things happen to them. So she's
Yeah.
trying to do her part as well. So it
It's
kind of connects to what you were saying, and I would highly recommend you to check her website out, or just check out my interview with her. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that was really nice to see that people are working for other people's betterment, and you know that there are genuinely people in the world who care about
Yeah.
people they don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I've been watching the Dhar Mann videos for a very long time, and correct me if
Mm-hmm.
I'm wrong. Uh, Dhar Mann, Mr. Dhar Mann also used to be in the videos initially.
He used to do like a thing at the end of each video when I first started, where he would kind of tell you what the moral of the
So
story
he, he,
was.
he, he still does that, right?
No, no, he hasn't done that in a year, at least a year, maybe more.
Really?
At the end, come on and say, "Hey, that video was about this and why you should never judge someone and all that." He stopped doing that and just at the end just started putting just a little greeting like, "Thanks for watching the video,"
Uh-huh.
you know,
Okay, so
stuff.
he was more elaborative back then, and now he's
Yeah,
not that
yeah.
elaborative. Right,
On the
right.
first year, really, at the end of each video, he would explain like what the video was about and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't do more lately when we do collaborations with other famous YouTubers. He has done a little bit of that, sometimes at the beginning, sometimes at the end, a tiny little bit, but it's mostly just to introduce who the special guest is, who the video's about.
Uh-huh. So guys, I must tell you that the Dhar Mann videos have been viewed 20 billion times.
Yeah,
Billion
I
with a
think it's
B.
I 22 billion now
22
collectively.
billion. Does
Yeah,
that make a record or something?
I don't know.
Maybe it
Good
does,
question.
because that's massive. 22 billion.
Yeah,
22
mm,
billion views. I mean,
yeah,
that's like around 3 videos per person in the whole entire world.
yeah. It's a lot, and you know that means, and people are probably watching them multiple times. The people who are the fans,
Yeah.
are probably watching them multiple times, and or they're watching every single video that comes out. I've
Hmm.
pretty much, I think, seen every video he's ever done, so
Uh,
I'm sure a lot of there's people who contact me who watch them over and over because they feel like it really helps them.
oh, of
So,
course, they're like my. I have this problem of falling asleep. I'm a bit insomniac. I wouldn't
oh,
call myself clinically insomniac. It's just that my mind starts working really fast in the later hours of the night. So I need
mm-hmm.
something to, shut me down. So I keep watching these Dhar Mann videos and other small videos on Facebook until I start feeling um sleepy, or sometimes I uh, listen to different podcasts on YouTube, or other platforms, and I just
Mm-hmm.
go to sleep with the recording on. So it always sets a great mood, and sometimes even when I'm having a bad day and I'm scrolling through my cell phone and I see a Dhar Mann video, and I end up smiling at the message, because you know beauty of these videos and the messages is that it's not like only one person can relate to one issue. One person can relate to, let's say, 10 issues in your 10 videos on a personal level, like bullying. Okay, let's say I was never bullied in high school or primary school or in my entire life, but there must have been one or two incidents, at least in my life, where I have been bullied. Okay, uh, maybe someday I judged someone too quickly, and
Yeah.
then I find out that I was being too hasty. So, uh, all the videos are very relatable to almost everybody. like be it
Mm-hmm.
you know, sometimes teaching manners to children, like that video you had of collecting trash.
Oh, mm-hmm.
That was a really nice video. The child is really rude to the lady, and then you explain the whole story to your child, and then he goes and apologizes, and you find out that it's the same lady that helped you, and it's incredible. It's incredible. It totally sets a positive vibe for the entire day. So
Yeah.
so yeah, thank you for that actually. It
Thank
it
you.
helps a lot of people. Trust me, it helps a lot of people. I don't think you guys even have the idea the kind of impact it is creating on its own level, that it's just magical. I mean, you just ask anybody and they would know about Dhar Mann films. Sometimes they don't know it by the name of Dhar Mann films or
Yeah.
videos, but when you know start to describe what happens in the videos and all that, and they're like, yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I've watched that video. That guy comes in the end. Hope you got the message. So
Yeah. I've noticed a lot of times lately now now that we don't always have to wear
yeah,
masks in public all the time, people, I see people just staring at me or they'll say, "You look so familiar." I don't, like I know you, but they don't know they don't know they know me from Dhar Mann. Like maybe they've seen it videos. So I go out and I lately I see like people just staring at me, and I like I know
yeah.
that they probably have seen me, but they don't know. So they're
Mhm.
just like looking at me the whole time trying to figure it out. Or but then like the diehard fans that will follow me around the grocery store.
Yeah, you have those. That's creepy, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's love actually coming from the fans, but of course, you people also need some space.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't gotten that bad.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't bother. The last I went on a vacation in June in Colorado, and then I went on a vacation
Mm-hmm.
in August to Arizona, and
Mm-hmm.
pretty much every day I got recognized by
Wow.
somebody who
Wow.
watches the films.
Wow.
So interesting. That kind of stuff doesn't never happened to me before. So it's
Uh-huh.
interesting to be had such a wide reach, and
Exactly.
that I have strangers coming up and thanking me for the videos. So
Uh-huh.
it's a humbling experience.
So, Catherine, your main work at the moment is is it the Dhar Mann films, or you're uh, totally consumed by something else at the moment?
Uh, well, I am totally consumed by something else. Is part of that for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm only at the Dhar Mann studio maybe 2 to 3 days a week.
Uh-huh.
So days I'm at home, I'm working on my online course. So
Right.
I told you I'm into more self-help and helping people.
Yes,
And
yes,
for the last
yes.
I've been writing, and for the last year I've been filming and editing my online course called You Are Worthy. And that's appealing to people who maybe don't feel like they're good enough. People who feel like they don't measure up to other people, who feel like
Yes.
they can't accomplish anything in life because they're not good enough, they're not smart
The
enough, they're
last
not rich
video,
enough.
the big boy video.
Yeah, so I have all these lessons. I think there's 12 lessons in
Yeah.
level 1 of my You Are Worthy course,
Uh-huh.
and maybe 15 in level 2, where
Uh-huh.
I'm just going and teaching people that, God made you on purpose for a purpose, just the way you are, to accomplish something that nobody else can do but you. And he
Exactly.
can use things that you maybe don't think are good enough to make you memorable, or to make it so that people can relate to you more. If you look perfect, not a lot of people can relate to you. You may scroll through Instagram and see like this gorgeous person or this muscle guy, and you aspire to be that, but it's not really an inspiration because, if they have genetics that you don't have, that you are never going to be able to get unless you spend $100,000 at a plastic surgeon, that's not really a role model. But if you see regular people making a difference, going out, doing great things, that's something you can aspire to because people can't relate to perfection. So we have to embrace the way we are with all of our cracks, all of our dents, all of our flaws, and realize
Exactly.
it doesn't what we look like on the outside. What matters is what God's put inside us, and He wants us to create the world.
Yes, and the universe, like we started, like we stated in the beginning, that the universe is gonna unfold the way it is. So no matter what you do, it's gonna be the way it is gonna be. So yeah, so like it's not overnight. You have to work. Sometimes for some people, it's just a years of hard work, and they get a lifetime of success and fame. For some people, it takes a lifetime, and at the very end, they get that kind of role that makes them the, what do you call it, talk of the town. So yeah, it's different for all, and I think we shouldn't compare ourselves with other people, and we should just strive on doing the best we can for ourselves, while keeping in mind that the people around us also need us, so we gotta be there for them as well.
Yeah, and so, yeah, you mentioned that the universe has this stuff ready for us, set aside for us, and that it's going to happen. But at the same time, if you don't feel good about yourself and you don't take a chance, the universe may present you with this opportunity, but if you feel like you're not enough, you may not go for it.
Yes.
There may be doors open for you, but you're too scared to walk through.
Exactly.
So those are the things that can make a difference in, did you live your full potential, or did you let fear stop you from going for these opportunities?
Exactly. So it's all about, how you want to be, how you want to feel on your deathbed. Did you make the most of your life, or did you not?
Yeah, your legacy.
Your legacy, you gotta create a legacy. Yeah. But then again, the idea of legacy is sometimes flawed, because a lot of people think a legacy means a lot of money as well. So, we have.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's having to do with the lives you've impacted.
Exactly.
Along the.
Like Mother Teresa or Gandhi or
Yeah.
or
Martin
Luther. Same time, huh? Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
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 So
Exactly.
yeah, it's about that. So I think, Christine, at the time, you're the best person to tell me about how things started to change at Dhar Mann, how it grew from a small video thing to a 22 billion viewership count. I think you're the best person to tell me, besides Mr. Dhar Mann himself.
Well, yeah, wow. I remember him telling me one time when they first started making these videos, nobody watched them. It would be like a miracle if they got 1,000 views. And now all of his videos get a minimum of 10 million views, it seems like.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the older only 8 million or whatever, but still. I mean, compared to my channel, a viral video on my channel might be 4,000 views. So he's even had one, the autism one, boy gets made fun of for autism, that just that one video alone has had 37 million views. So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, So you were talking about record breaking, do you think
Yeah.
that 20 billion views collectively is the most videos ever been viewed? Views, for a video series to be viewed, that I'm not sure of. But I don't know if this is something he's aspiring to, but remember that song like 10 years ago, Gangnam Style?
Yeah.
That was the first video ever to break 1 billion views on one video.
Exactly.
So that's kind of crazy. But starting from, he started from what he had. He had a desire to be like a motivational speaker like I do. And if you go back to his early videos, like maybe the first 10 or 15 videos he made, he was giving advice. He was doing like advice videos and cutting in just different like stock photography to really drive home the point, stock videos. And it was him basically telling the stories, or
Yeah.
famous people stories, and he would be telling their stories. And then he just, he decided that, I wonder if I did a cinematic version, if I did it like with actors acting everything out, that it might play better. And you'll notice in the first few videos where he had actors, he was narrating the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so he would be saying what was happening in each scene as you saw it happening.
Yeah.
And then he got busy and it moved into, I think he stopped narrating for a couple of years, but now that's coming back.
Uh-huh.
So his voice is coming back. So in the recent videos, like the last few months,
Uh-huh.
back to him narrating the stories again like he did in the beginning.
Right.
So it's some stuff has made a full circle. One of the cool things about Dhar Mann is he's not afraid to try new things. He's not afraid to innovate, to try different storylines, to talk about subjects that might be taboo.
Yeah.
Not afraid to talk about different filmmaking, or to try different filmmaking styles. I remember one time when before he had the studio, when we were still filming all of the episodes at the penthouse he operated his makeup company out of, I remember he said, I wrote a monologue for you.
Uh-huh.
And no, he had filmed before and never done one of these films before where it was one character who did all the talking all the way through.
Uh-huh.
So he always trying new things. I don't know if you saw that one. I think it was Mom Has a Nervous Breakdown. I think that was part of the title.
Uh-huh.
And it was, and we broke the fourth wall, and I was actually talking to the camera saying, I bet you wonder how I got here. And I had kids with me and Doritos all over the floor. And so he tries different things to see what works.
He's not afraid to fail.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. With all the business ventures he's done and tried, he's definitely not afraid to fail or take chances.
You know what?
And I think, yeah.
Please continue.
Oh, I think that's part of the reason that he's really thrived, is because he wasn't afraid, like, I got this magic formula and I know if I get this actor and do this thing and we have this storyline, I get the views, so I'm going to stick with this the whole time. He's not afraid to try different things, and I think that has helped him expand and do more with, really get the juicy parts of the story. And and like any smart business person, I'm sure he's looking at the numbers, he's looking at the analytics, he's looking at the comments. What are people responding to? What do they want to see more of? And that first video that got 37 million views, the one about, he noticed there was a spark, there was a chemistry between the character Mikey and the character Jaden. And so that, I believe, is the first time now that he's having those two play brothers repeatedly in several episodes, because he saw bonds,
There's a
he saw the chemistry.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to film, I think, the fourth one of these people playing the same characters, because before that we were different characters in every single episode. It was always completely different people, different storylines. Now there's like a running theme through it, and there's probably, I think I've seen they sent me a script for like a fifth or sixth one where I'll be the mom of Mikey and Jaden. Now we've got kind of a running storyline, which is also fun.
So, Katherine, any words for your fans, including me?
I would say keep going. No
Uh,
matter how hard it is, keep going. Don't stop.
uh,
If you won't win.
yeah.
So in order to win, you can't quit. And don't worry about failing.
Uh,
Failing doesn't mean that you're a failure. It only means you tried something that didn't work.
mhm.
I know some people want to avoid criticism, but the only way to avoid criticism is not to do anything, not to say anything, and not to be anything.
Exactly.
So go for it.
Thank you so much for your time, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on Screen Bench, giving us the respect of your time and uh, talking to us. I'm sure our audience will love watching your interview, especially. If not our audience, at least the complete family will totally love it. And finally, they'll be proud of me.
I'm sure that they are.
Yeah.
I'm really
yeah.
sure.
So, yeah, see you. See you. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank you.